So, this is insane, the biggest story in politics today, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked. And then it got leaked.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So the future leaders of America got exposed, and honestly, this one is wide. A bunch of young Republicans had their private Telegram group chats leaked, and the stuff they were saying in there, I can't even say the words. They were joking about slavery, using the N-word like it's a normal word. And these are not random trolls on the internet. These are people with real position in the Republican Party. Some of them are vice chairs, some even holding government seats. Like, if this is what's going on behind closed doors, no wonder America's still dealing with so much hate. Anyway, let me show you a few clips from TikTok because people are not happy about this.
So, this is insane, the biggest story in politics today, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked. And then it got leaked. They referred to black people as this and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about doing this to their enemies and driving them to do that. I can't say some of these things because of social media, but I am dedicated to not letting these people get away with it. So I'm going to show you their texts and then we're going to put a face to some of them. Right here, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, said PG. And that person is this guy, Peter Gunta. He was referencing a vote for him to take over this massive Republican organization, and he lost, by the way, and said anybody that votes no is going to be punished. And then BW says, when do we start bullying, dude? That guy is Bobby Walker, who has other really disgusting texts. And he says, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Then AK says, when do we bring that side out? That right there is Ann K. Katie. This person. And it actually gets worse. JM says, can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the blank aesthetic. That guy is Joe Maligno. And there he is right there. Vice President, Staten Island Young Republican Club. And notice all the reactions to the text messages as well. They line up with names, of course. And then Ann K. Katie also said, I'm ready to watch people, you know. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used these words and variations of racial slurs more than a dozen times in the chat. This is William Hendricks. You know, I'm really starting to see a theme with all these people. They all just look kind of similar, don't they? And the final one is this guy named Alex Dwyer saying, he did say my delegates I bring will vote for the most right-wing person. And then that Peter Gunta loser said, great, I love blank. And notice how Alex Dwyer put a smiley face on that text. He loved it. This is Alex Dwyer, by the way. I highly recommend you go read that Politico article because there's far more than I can fit into this one video, but it is truly appalling. This is the kind of rhetoric, the kind of behavior that Donald Trump has inspired. All of those people have sworn allegiance to Donald Trump. It's not by accident.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. You know, I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine.
let's get one thing straight, you guys. Accountability needs to be taken on both sides. It needs to go both ways. Democrats, Republicans, anyone that ends up saying some shit that fucking shouldn't be said should be held accountable for their actions. Another thing we got to get straight, you guys. These are not children that he is talking about. He's talking about individuals that ended up getting busted. Their age is between 20 and 30. Those are adults, plain and simple. I don't give a fuck what you say. They're not kids. They need to be held accountable. And here's another thing that I think is fucking hilarious. He said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. And he said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. Last time he was on that podcast, he ended up talking about and doxing people about their actions and their jokes and their memes about Charlie Kirk's death. These young adults in this group chat, over 2,900 pages, thousands, tens of thousands of text messages that were leaked, showcased them talking about and bragging about how much they loved Hitler, how much they idolized rape. Yeah, you heard me right. They said that right there is edgy and cool. Edgy and cool to rape some female. Wow. Absolutely crazy. They also idolized the fact that, they said that the gas chamber needs to be utilized a lot more right now. Yeah, it needs to be utilized a lot more right now. Especially on brown and black people.
When Charlie Kirk got popped on that college campus, J.D. Vance was one of the first people to be like, if you say anything bad about Charlie Kirk, you need to be fired. You need to be calling these people's jobs and you need to get them fired. And now we have an advisor that's still working in the Trump administration who was in a group chat called I Love Mustache Man, where they talked about wanting to watch people burn and wanting to grape their enemies. And that black people are watermelon people and monkeys. And that we need to fix the showers because it doesn't meet the mustache man aesthetic. We have advisors still working in the Trump administration who were in that group chat and didn't do anything about that rhetoric. And still thought that the people, the leaders, the Republican leaders that were in that group chat should still be running their organizations, leading thousands of young Republicans across the country. But J.D. Vance doesn't think that person should be fired. They still have their job. And we got senators, representatives across the country talking about, I'm surprised, I'm shocked at the rhetoric that I'm seeing from these young Republicans in this group chat. I denounce this rhetoric. I'm shocked. Why are you shocked? We had Elon Musk at the stage at the inauguration doing a Yahtzee salute. And now you're shocked that a couple months later, we have a group of young Republicans in a I Love Mustache Man group chat? You Republicans are deeply unserious. If you can't put something like that together, you shouldn't be leading anything. You're a national security threat. If you can't tie together Elon Musk on the inauguration stage doing a Yahtzee salute, and then all of a sudden we got young Republicans all over the country in a I Love Mustache Man group chat.
So in case you were living under a rock or didn't watch The Sound of Coffee this morning, I spoke about this. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chats. Duh. I'm going to send this one out to those people that believe both sides of the political aisle are the same, and you Coonesians. This is for y'all. All of you sellout, Sambo-esque motherfuckers across the whole spectrum, Spanish speakers, gay, black. This is for you, okay? This one's for you. This is how these people truly feel about you. You hear that silence? Nobody disagrees. I'm neither shocked nor surprised because they don't like you. You see, and this is for them both siders. If you took the two major political parties in the United States, at their worst aspects, they're still not going to be the same. Because I don't care how far left you go, you can be a goddamn communist. That does not equal these motherfuckers taking a rightward turn. Racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, transphobia, and ableism is baked into the conservative movement. Baked in. It's part of the fucking culture. And it has been this way for a hot minute. You see, for those of you who deny the party switch, please remember this. Harry Truman integrated the United States military. So, in other words, he was the first woke person. He integrated the United States military. And then he put a push on actually giving equal rights to black folk. Where those Southern Democrats, the ones we keep hanging the fuck around with because, oh my God, we have to have them even though everything they were doing was fucking atrocious, they left the party. The most prominent one of them, Strom Thurmond. That's Strom Thurmond. Oh, and before you come and try to tell me how great of a man he was, I don't give a fuck. Because that Strom Thurmond sexually assaulted his maid, created a child, and then took care of that child for the rest of her life and the rest of his without ever telling anybody what he did. So those Southern Democrats became Dixiecrats. Strom Thurmond ran for president as a Dixiecrat. But when it was all said and done, did they go back to the Democratic Party? No. No, they didn't. Because the Democratic Party was letting Negroes in. You think they want to... The man even said it. Integrating our homes, our churches, our schools, our theaters. They wasn't letting that happen. Where did they go? Where did they go? Don't worry, I'll wait. Want the answer? The Republican Party. And the Republican Party embraced them. LBJ even said by signing the Civil Rights Act, he has literally lost the South for a generation. And it's actually been two. LBJ was not this forward progressive fucking Democrat. He thought just like they did. But he stayed in the Democratic Party and signed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. Ain't that odd? These people moved to the Republican Party. They became part of the Republican brand. And what did those Dixiecrats and those Southern Democrats bring with them? Oh, I don't know, a little bit of revisionist history. The lost cause myth. The Daughters of the Confederacy. All those goddamn Confederate statues. So who do these people hang out with now? Again, don't worry, I'll wait. You ever seen David Duke at a Kamala rally? How about the Proud Boys at a Biden event? That is them. At the heart of the Republican Party, that's them. Do I believe every Republican thinks like that? No. I know Republicans, conservative Republicans, rock rib conservative Republicans that don't agree with any of that shit. Oh, subsequently, they're all in the military. But I digress. But they even know that their party has played very fast and loose with that racism. They have. One of the most annoying things that I see going on today is how Jewish people and black people seem to not be able to get along, even though when it comes to the hierarchy of people that these racists want to fuck with, it's either black first, then Jew second, or Jew first, then black second. It doesn't fucking matter. It's always going to be the two of us. Everybody else gets what's left. And what's left is worse after they've said all the shit they wanted to say about blacks and Jews. But that's always there. You understand that? That whole 2,900 pages of messages and text, that's always been in the Republican Party. Always. Always. It's always a fallback. But now it doesn't even have to be a fallback anymore, because after accepting these racists and these anti-Semites into their party, they made a deal or a love fest with evangelical Christian conservatives. So you have a mixture of evangelical Christian conservative nationalism, white supremacy ideology, love of the funny mustache man with one nut, business interests, and politics. It's always there. There is no equivalent on the left. There is no equivalent in the Democratic Party. None. Oh, what about Robert Byrd? You mean the guy that denounced what he did earlier in his life and spent the remainder of his life atoning for it? As opposed to Strom Thurmond, who never did, Trent Lott, who never did, fucking, goddamn, George Wallace, who never, George Wallace did eventually. That shit's always there. Always. This Telegram group chat is not shocking to me at all, because it's always been there. Donald Trump made it acceptable. Barack Obama brought it to life, even though we had always known it was there. The election of Barack Obama and the subsequent rise of Donald Trump gave these people the nuts, the balls, the guts, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, to finally shed that last layer of conservative republicanism. The evangelical Christian nationalists are now on the march. They want to make martyrs out of podcasters, but want to shit on people who are the victims of violent crime at the hands of police. And every racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and ableist thing you can think of is there. That ain't both sides, baby. That's only one. I'm no longer shocked, nor was I surprised when I saw the shit. I talked about it for 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours this morning on the Sound of Coffee. But make no mistake about it. That's the next generation. Those are millennials and Gen Z. They are fucking having children and they're teaching their kids the same thing. So Gen Alpha's in trouble too. It's been there the whole time. But the left kept trying to tell black folks and Jewish people that we were making it up. We shouldn't call people racists and fascists and Nazis. What do you do when they call themselves that? That's all I'm saying.
You stupid libs need to stop calling everybody you disagree with a Nazi and a fascist. Just because dozens of young Republican leadership send thousands of messages talking about how much we love Hitler and how we want to put our political opponents in gas chambers and fix the showers for the Hitler aesthetic, and use so many racist, homophobic, and sexist slurs that make a 14-year-old in a Call of Duty lobby uncomfortable, and joke about raping and torturing people we don't like and how awesome it is that Donald Trump, who we support, definitely also not a Nazi, is burning the Epstein files, which we totally know that he's in. None of that stuff makes us racist, Nazis, or fascists, okay? Just stop pretending, guys. You're Nazis. Because you seriously cannot be a Republican anymore and pretend otherwise. All of you are fucking Nazis. If you still identify as a Republican, you are a fucking Nazi, and this proves it. Because if these are the people that are in your party and you guys don't personally take them out yourselves and remove them, then you are just as bad as they are. And I was struggling so much with how I was going to talk about this. Like, come on. These motherfuckers are the ones running their mouths. These tubby little incels who piss on the bottom of their tum-tum every time they gotta take a leak because their micro penis doesn't stick out past their front butt flaps. These are the fedora-wearing, maul sword-wielding motherfuckers who think that they are superior to anybody else. These irrefutable examples of why Planned Parenthood clearly does not provide enough abortions think that at any point in their sad, pathetic little lives they've ever been in a position to talk shit about anyone or anything other than which flavor of Hot Pocket their mom made them and brought down to the basement tastes the worst. These sentient sacks of McDonald's Happy Meals who, if you ever played a video game where you had to beat your way through a horde of incels with a rubber hose, would be the ultimate final boss. These motherfuckers said sex is gay. Not sex with a man, just sex. I could do a 7-episode long Netflix miniseries mocking these motherfuckers and never repeat a joke once because they are that pathetic and laughable. I mean, there's just so much material to work with. Normally, I would say that the last woman these incels have been inside of was their mother, but clearly no woman would ever touch anything that's ever been genetically related to them. So their fathers must have jacked off into a petri dish and they are what those moldy cum stains grew into. But as big of a joke as all of those worthless excuses for human excrement are, none of this is funny. This isn't kids joking around. This wasn't an offhanded comment by a middle schooler who didn't understand what he was saying and thought he was being edgy. This is the reality of what the controlling political party in this country believes, what they want, and what they do if they can get away with it. You know who jokes about rape and says that it's epic? Rapists. You know who jokes about turning showers into gas chambers for the Hitler aesthetic? Genocidal fucking sociopaths. And do you know what kind of people talk about those things? People whose parents talk about those things. People whose mentors and social groups talk about those things. These cum stains their mom sat on too long do not exist in a bubble. These kids were taught this, and they were taught that not only is it okay, it's encouraged. And not only is it encouraged, but if you say these things and you believe these things and you normalize these things, you will be groomed for positions of power. Once you get to those positions of power, you will have the ability to inflict your sick, perverse, disgusting, and violent ideologies, fetishes, and fantasies on other people. These are the kids who groomers like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes have created. These are the kids who are shaped by a world where Brock Turners get a slap on the wrist, where angry mobs of treasonous terrorists overrun the Capitol trying to overthrow democracy, and the wildly, criminally corrupt rapist and pedophile that we allowed to be president not once but twice pardons them, where the world's richest man does a Nazi salute at a presidential inauguration. And these examples of why Plan B has to say it's only 95% effective are just a snapshot, just a tiny little window into the cancer that is right-wing extremism that has infected our entire country. And all of that is horrifying. It is disgusting. And it is incredibly dangerous. But none of it is funny. And these people need to be held accountable in the strongest possible ways, and not just these sentient bottles of Rufalin that were texting away in their little group chat we all saw, but all of their parents and all of the organizations that groomed them, like Turning Point USA and PragerU and the Daily Wire and Moms for Liberty and Daughters of the Confederacy, and all of their mentors and all of the organizations that have accepted them, like the Young Republicans, and the party that allows these human-shaped blobs of cultured pond scum to exist within it, and all of the public figures who use their platform to espouse and glorify this type of rhetoric and behavior. Whether that's racist commentary about minorities eating cats and dogs, or the pedophiles who are suggesting that it's trans and gay people who are actually pedophiles, or congressional candidates pretending to shoot effigies of immigrants, or the President of the United States bragging about assaulting women, or any of the other countless examples, these people need to be held accountable because they are all responsible. And every day that they are not, it only gets worse. So I'm looking at you, every single elected official, every governor, every attorney general, every congressperson, every senator. I'm looking at you, every single fucking cop who pretends you're one of the good apples in the spoiled barrel. I'm looking at every federal agent who isn't too fucking busy writing things on the side of shell casings with a Sharpie to start arresting people who are clearly breaking the law in government. All of the judges, especially the ones in the supreme corruption of the United States. Believe me, when accountability comes, it is not going to be kind to you. And for everybody else, every form of resistance we can muster, we have to be doing that. Whether that's showing up to your No Kings protest on Saturday, or booking your tickets to be in DC on November 22nd to protest at the Capitol, to not giving any of these Nazis rest, keep calling and emailing your representatives, mocking MAGA in public, donating to organizations who are organizing and fighting and suing to try to get us through this, to just supporting people speaking up. Anything you do, no matter how small, is huge, because the jokes in those text messages weren't jokes. Nah, it's foreshadowing that shows what's in store for all of us if we don't.
This one's juicy. The Telegram chat. of young Republican groups in New York, Arizona, and other states was just leaked. They even say in one of them, if this chat ever leaked, we'd be cooked for real. Well, it leaked, and it's just as bad as you might think it would be. I mean, just look at some of them in this floater. Advocating for gas chambers, slavery. They used several different slurs, a total of 251 times. They counted them up. Take a look at this exchange. This is in reference to this kid trying to get the vote to take over the Young Republicans of New York. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. When do we start bullying, dude? We have a solid 3 people who can probably have them want to jump. I assume saying jumped. If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Somebody, when do we bring that side out? Right? On and on. It continued. I'm trying to block some of this with my shoulder because it's so bad I can't say. In response to the, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the mustache man aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We got to pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower and relax. Boom, they're unalive. And it just goes on and on and on. They advocate for graping their opponents, torturing their opponents. They advocate for slavery and use every last racial slur they can possibly think of. Just gonna let that one simmer. For blacks for Trump and other minority groups for Trump. This is how they talk when you're not in the room. Even more disheartening, several of these kids are in fucking government. One of them in the Trump administration. Another one is a state senator. Guess what? They're saying it's been deceptively edited. This is who you are. And guess what? They don't mind calling themselves Yahtzees behind closed doors either. They come out here so they can keep up the Antifa bit and act like we're crazy for calling them fascists, but yeah, they know. They call each other that. So, well done, young Republicans. You are cooked. Already getting a lot of pushback from Republicans, but ass is out, and this is who the fuck they are.
The thing is, these are the young ones, the next generation of Republican leaders. They're supposed to be the ones changing the image of the party. But if this is how they talk when no one's watching, it says a lot about the culture that's being passed down. And yes, after it went viral, the main Young Republican board came out trying to clean it up, saying they're disgusted and shocked. But it's a little late for that. The internet already saw the real them. You can't be out here talking about family values and freedom while your own people are joking about slavery and using racial slurs. That's not leadership. That's hate with a suit on. This whole thing just shows you what some folks really think when they think nobody's watching. You can dress it up with nice speeches and political talk, but the truth always finds its way out. If this is the future of their party, then America's got a serious problem. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.